And good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 359 podcast. It's episode 438, and my name is BBG. Today's episode, as always, is being sponsored by USB Technology. The USB Implementers Forum reminds consumers that USB IF logos are displayed on certified USB products, so next time you're shopping for a reliable USB charger, cable, or device, look for the logos. Get the whole story at enablingus.org. And here are your hosts today, Joan Salzman and Roger Chang.
Hey, morning.
Hi, good morning.
So we've got a busy pie-packed day.
Pie-packed day. Double entendre.
We'll be talking about Google's latest version of Android, which they announced late last night, and it's pie. We'll be talking about Alex Jones and Infowars, that whole controversy. And then we'll end with another pie, Ajit Pai, admitting that the claims of a DDoS attack on the FCC's comment system wasn't legit. It wasn't a real attack. So we'll dig into that. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Brian will pick out the best, and we will get to them in 3 minutes and 59 seconds.
From 3, 2...
Welcome to the 359. I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Joni Salzman.
Google has unveiled the newest version of Android 9, and it's pie. Joan, what do you think? I would have preferred Pez or Peppermint Patty myself, but what do you think about pie?
I love pie. Who doesn't love pie?
Pie's good.
It's classic.
That's true.
And you're a savory guy, and pie can be savory.
You're right.
All these versions of Android.
Although Android is, it's a sugary thing. It's all about sweets. So I can't imagine they're thinking about a savory pie when they're thinking this with Android 9. So the big update with Android 9, really a bunch of little updates, but the one we care about the most, at least I care about the most, the idea that they're working to improve battery life, right? That's, I think, probably one of the issues that just remains as something that plagues all phones. And so I'd love to actually see material impact, improvement, and also the use of AI. For instance, it'll know in the background what part of the website you're looking for and like automatically load that up. I mean, what are you excited about?
Well, notch support, obviously.
That's true. It's falling in line with Apple. They're gonna have official support with Notch for the Notch. Mm-hmm. We've seen those phones already. We've seen a bunch of Android Notch phones, but now it's official. It means we're gonna live with notches for a while, right?
But do we know when actual people are going to start getting these yet?
I believe a beta will be available, or an early version will be available in the fall. And then I presume the next Pixel will be the one to get Android P. No word on like some of the official OEMs, like bigger ones like Samsung or HTC. They're probably going to take a little bit longer. So, all right. So some of the biggest names in tech said no more Alex Jones, with Apple, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and LinkedIn all banning him and his Infowars program. The conspiracy theorist has long been criticized for pushing fake claims like 9/11 being an inside job or the Sandy Hook mass shooting being a hoax, which, by the way, those are all fake. Let's just be clear about that. That's all not 100% wrong. But it definitely represents, his banning represents a pretty thorny issue for tech companies, right? Like, they've supposedly created this open platform, but they're now kind of cracking down on individuals. I mean, you've been following this.
Right. So it touches on this central tension that a lot of tech companies are facing right now, where they premised their massive growth on being good for the world. And that's based on the idea that freedom of speech and diversity of voices is an inherently good thing. But when they empower people that pollute conversation to the point that, grieving families are getting harassed and have to move towns so they can escape harassment. I mean, that's not good.
Right.
It's a pretty definitively
it's pretty much the opposite.
bad.
Yeah.
It's on the other end of the spectrum. And so it really highlights how they're having such difficulty not being neutral.
Right. And I think they're making things worse they're not super clear about how they're going about passing judgment and enforcing these rules. Like are they the gatekeepers? Right. Are they the ones setting the standards?
Right. So that's the thing. They like to claim that they're not, but they really are. And the frustrating thing, back in the old days before the internet, when we had gatekeepers, we knew who they were. They were the broadcast networks.
Right.
They were the big newspapers because it was all very concentrated. Right. We know who they are now, but they're not telling us what rules they're playing by. Right. Like even the fact that this all happened in 24 hours, it's perfect fodder for conspiracy theorists to say, that's a coordinated effort. They're shutting me down. Was it coordinated? We don't know because they're not talking about what really went into their decision making.
Lastly, it turns out the FCC comment system wasn't taken down by a DDoS attack. After all, we have to rewind to last year when John Oliver spurred his viewers to weigh in on the net neutrality debate. The following day, the site crashed because the comment system went down. The FCC had claimed for a while it was a DDoS attack. Turns out, after an investigation, Chairman Ajit Pai admitted that no, there was no attack. But then he said basically it was the CIO's fault. And he was hired by the previous administration, and he's gone now. So, yay for me? I don't know. It was an interesting way to disclose that information.
Yeah. So we didn't get the actual report, but we did get this disclosure from Ajit Pai, which touched all the hits of the Trump administration. There was a conspiracy. It was the previous administration's fault, and not actually, telling us what they know.
Right. Hopefully, we'll get more on the report. For more of these stories, check us out on CNET. I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Joni Salzman.
Thanks for listening.
And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us for the recording of the audio podcast. Now, just to disclaim up front, I know these are going to be some touchy subjects. I just wanted to say this isn't about politics. Let's try to keep things mellow and civil in the chat. We're not going back and forth about who's right or wrong or beating up Alex Jones or however you want to put perspective on it. This is about the impact that's being taken from the mass media market, from social media specifically, where tech companies play a role in this, how they are reacting to this. And this isn't about free speech. This is about the business side, the electronic side. So just keep that in mind, please. I know that we have a tendency as humans to get heated about stuff like this, but remember, this is a tech show, not a politics show. That's where I'm leaving off.
Thank you. Thanks, Brian.
I'm getting out ahead of the game here.
I'm not even worried. Our viewers have generally have smart questions that are pretty informed and
our viewers are
stick to sort of tech topics. So I'm not super nervous.
I do feel obligated to say things once in a while, though. It's a very temperamental society we have.
I mean, it is a free speech issue, just in a tech way.
Yes. It's like how tech handles free speech. Right?
Yeah.
Expand on that, will you?
Well, I mean, obviously, when we're talking about, in this case, with Alex Jones, we're talking about Apple, the most valuable company in the entire world. We're talking about Facebook. We're talking about YouTube, which is Google. These are the most powerful companies in the world. And they are gatekeepers in the sense that they have such control over our public discourse and how we connect with people, how we converse with people. And so the idea that all that power is concentrated in one group, on one side, the people that would support Alex, or maybe not even support Alex Jones, but be wary of this slippery slope where these massively powerful companies get to decide what we get to talk about, because that opens up the possibility that they could censor people that don't deserve to be censored, people that aren't necessarily violating their terms.
I mean, the nightmare scenario is that they start censoring people that they specifically don't agree with, and that could include not just like fake news, but policy that they don't agree with, right? For instance, like net neutrality is a very touchy subject, right? They're generally pro net neutrality, and all of a sudden, I mean, do they start censoring like anti like that different opinion? That's sort of an extreme, and I imagine these companies would get a lot of blowback, but I think that's what that slippery slope is all about, right? If it starts with Alex Jones, does it go further down?
Right. Yeah. Where does it stop?
And just to be clear, like there's this isn't a First Amendment, right? Like a lot of people talk about this being a First Amendment thing. It's not. Obviously the government protects free speech, but these are private companies, then they can do whatever they want on their platform. So they are within their rights to censor you, but it just creates a really tricky precedent if they start doing that to one person. Who's to say where that stops?
And it's part of this reckoning that we're having with technology where, like, at the beginning of the internet's emergence as this communication platform, at least in America, we set these laws that said that safe harbor, that these companies aren't held responsible for what their users say. And that's how these companies were able to grow so big. They weren't held liable for crazy stuff or copyright infringement or, hate speech.
Right.
But
they weren't regulated like the broadcasters.
Right.
Or
they weren't regulated like utilities.
Exactly.
Because they weren't. But now that they feel like utilities, people feel like their First Amendment rights are violated if they're taken off Facebook, because how else are they going to communicate?
No.
So yeah, we're in a very different time than when the internet started, and we haven't kept pace with those changes.
Yeah, I still remember when Facebook started and we were like poking each other and like playing stupid games, and now it's like
those stupid games led to like
I know.
democracy's toppling.
That's true. Actually,
it's actually really true.
You're right. Well, they weren't that malicious back then.
Yeah.
Well, we
think.
Yeah.
We think.
I, for one, miss the stupid games, but that's just me. This actually kind of segues into a fantastic commentary being made by Dominic in the chat. He says, social platforms already provide the user with mute or blocking options, allowing users to censor what they want to censor. We do not need the government or the companies to decide what we're allowed to read or not. And then he goes on to ask, if YouTube, for whatever reason, decided to remove CNET today and the other big five follow, what would you guys do? And I think I would say that we would do exactly what Alex Jones does. He has his own massive network that he's self-sufficient. It's something to be admired, no matter how you look at it. He doesn't need the syndication necessarily. Yes, there's massive fiscal benefits to that, but I think that's what we would do, and it's exactly what you guys were saying. You know, if he doesn't represent these syndications' messages, then they have every right in their means to pull that plug.
Yeah, something that we overlook is that Alex Jones specifically, his one instance, he makes all his money from selling fake like
merchandise.
From like nutraceuticals and supplements and things that'll cure you of like government interference in your brain from drinking water that's poisoned and stuff like that. So that's how he makes
that real, because that sounds plausible actually.
So it is significant to Alex Jones to lose these methods of distribution, but he ultimately makes his money from his own website, and he rose to prominence not necessarily through these platforms. He had a radio show. Yeah. Donald Trump came on in 2015, and that was a big legitimizing factor, or, distributing factor. It brought a lot of attention to him. So there are very traditional ways that he makes money and has risen to prominence.
Well, let's really look at this for a second. It's one of the greatest things happened to him because he's getting more attention than he's ever gotten before.
Yeah.
And people ask, why are they picking on poor Alex Jones? Well, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, man.
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely more than a squeaky wheel. But
he's a loud, red-faced,
he kind of sounds like a dying tractor engine when he speaks. I'm just...
You don't like that gravelly voice?
Not particularly, but hey, that's subjective.
There's no gravitas there. No, but to your earlier point, the fact that like these 4 or 5 big companies all almost like a coordinated effort, like that definitely fuels the conspiracy theorists out there, and definitely gives them free press. I have to imagine the traffic to his site is just surging.
And what's really interesting is during his exclusive response to this conspiracy to kick him off the internet, which he live streamed, which I thought the irony of that was delicious. Yeah. He live streamed his response to being kicked off the internet.
You got to give him props for that one.
But one of the things that he kept, in addition to from like these nutraceuticals that he sells during he had advertisements throughout this, very long response. Some of them are they were all for his own businesses. Some of them are for these pharmaceuticals, fake pharmaceuticals, and a lot were for his app, which is available in Apple's App Store and on Google Play Store.
And I think it was, at least this morning, it was the number 4 free app on the news category in the App Store.
Really?
So
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's really surged.
So he got plenty of attention for ways that Apple still says, that's fine. They took him off podcasts on iTunes, but not out of the App Store.
Right.
Okay, that was a fantastic civil discussion. Thanks, everybody, for keeping it cool. I just relieved. This is
Again,
all. I get
shocked.
nervous when you
Our
get into touchy
awesome.
stuff like this, and yes, our viewers are awesome. Let's swing over to Android Pie, or as it should have been called, Android Pop-Tart.
Ooh, I like that one.
I'm mad.
Pop-Tarts back in the
That's
day.
a missed opportunity in my book.
So many missed opportunities.
P. Impmon says, what about explaining how exactly is Android Pie going to make your phone's battery last longer?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of AI in there, but the idea that it's I guess it's an adaptive battery setting that that works more efficiently. I think it optimizes the use of the battery for like if you're not using it as much, or if you're using a task like browsing, it doesn't use the full horsepower of the chip. I think it's also optimized for slower processors. So even if you don't have like the super high end Snapdragon 845 processor, that is supposed to be more power efficient. Even with the slower chips or the less efficient ones, this is supposed to run faster or run longer, and basically allow you to prioritize tasks or apps in a way that lets your battery run a little bit longer. Hope that helps.
That's fantastic. You just straight up answered a question. We rarely do
I
that.
know. We've had to dodge a couple of questions in the last few days because we're out of our depth. But fortunately, I actually knew what I was talking about there.
Mobile. Roger Chang.
Matthew Datcher says, was it supposed to be Pi, as in P-I? That would have been a smart play on their book. Another missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Damn it, Android.
I feel like that would have been very Google. I would have gone with it. I would have liked it better than this Pi. But
What are the other ones that you guys thought would be better titles than just Pi?
Well, Pez, you said, I think.
Pez was, that was Shara's idea, actually. I can't even steal that one because she said that would be a perfect marketing opportunity, like create little Android Pez dispensers, which would be cute and like in sort of keeping with their theme of trying to make Android cute and cuddly for everyone.
Right.
As it invades everybody's homes.
It takes over all the phones.
I've got a little toy Android at home that I gave to my kid. He plays with it. He's probably going to grow up on an Android phone. What have I done?
What else is there? Pop-Tarts, peppermint patties.
Life Improvement said peppermint.
Peppermint.
Peanut butter
Peanut butter
crunch?
cup.
Butter would have been
Peanut butter
good.
cup.
Or just
know.
PB&J.
Peanut
It
butter.
has to be a candy or something though.
Yeah.
PB&J is a little too. I don't know.
I don't know a lot of P-titled candies, though.
I don't either. Like pizza would be great, but again, it's
Nuts.
away from the whole confection.
Doesn't
I mean, unless you
Hungry.
put that
I know,
abomination
right?
pineapple on it.
Pineapple.
Oh, pineapple. Is that
Pineapple
sweet
pizza.
enough? Does that qualify?
I kind of want to test your skills and see if you can go A through P every single Android version,
Oh,
which would be
I-
fascinating for all the
I-
viewers to have
I
him go
don't
through.
think I could do it.
All right, Alex Mitchell,
I
tone
don't
it
know what
down.
the first two were. What's A and B? I don't even remember.
See?
God, it's-
Apples
yeah.
and bananas.
No, it wasn't. I don't know. I've already lost. I know the more recent ones, but like as you get back to like,
That's
oh
good.
God,
That's a deep cut. A and B are deep cuts.
they are.
Totally on the sheet.
Any more questions, Brian?
Yeah, let's tackle a couple more before we wrap it up. Michael Brown says, how did we miss all the hints when it came to naming Android Pie? Google talked about slices and Android at Google I.O.
Yeah.
Slices.
See, I was like totally on the pizza bandwagon when I heard that, but mostly because we get pizza during big live events like Google I/O or WWDC. So my brain's usually on pizza.
Datcher says peanut brittle would have been a good one.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
good one. I like that. Gosh, this is really making me hungry. I can't go
Drive
if I can
Fast
think.
says they missed out by not releasing it on March 14th. Yeah, I'd still agree
Right.
with that one. Anybody out there? We've got a few people in the chat talking about how they haven't even gotten Oreo yet, and that makes them kind of apprehensive about Pi.
Right.
How many out there are running Android and haven't gotten Oreo yet? I'm running Oreo. You guys have iPhones, right?
I have both.
yeah, I
You have
honestly,
both.
I don't even know. what
So I'm just
brand
curious
is
to see where we're at. What was why are so many people missing out on Oreo? Just because it wasn't a forced update and people are just comfy?
No, because Android doesn't do forced updates.
I'm still new to Android. So.
Yeah, so that's the biggest knock on Android is still a real minority of folks are on Oreo. It's largely because if you've got a carrier phone that is, that's not like a Google phone, you're waiting way long. You're waiting like months for that update. If you get one at all, older phones, cheaper phones tend to not get updates at all. So it's definitely the whole fragmentation of this market is sort of the biggest knock that if you're on an Android phone, unless you're like on like a Pixel or like a Google approved phone, chances are you're not going to get the latest version anytime soon, or like you have to wait months, if not years, for them.
Michael Brown says he's got Pi already on his Pixel 2 XL. How's your experience so far, sir? What are you feeling?
Ooh, yeah, let us know. Is the beta already available? I thought the beta wasn't available yet.
Michael's got some juice in the industry, I think.
I guess so. By the way, I looked it up, and there was no A or B. It started with Cupcake.
Yeah.
So that's why I couldn't figure out A and B.
Don't look at the list. What
Yeah.
comes after? Do you like 5? What's after Cupcake? What's D?
D, donut. E is eclair.
Yeah.
F, froyo.
Yeah.
G is gingerbread.
Yeah.
H is honeycomb.
Yeah.
I is ice cream.
Ice cream sandwich.
Ice cream sandwich. Sorry. J is
Jelly bean.
jelly bean.
Nice, BBG.
Not my fault. Matthew Datcher's got him on the list right here. Kit
you
Kat,
got a
lollipop,
ringer.
marshmallow, nougat,
There we go, there we
Oreo,
go.
and pie. So before we call it a day, what's Q gonna be?
Oh, good question.
Oh, wow.
Because it's hard. Q.
Q is also. I can't believe we're already up to Q. That's crazy.
What are they gonna do when they run out of letters too?
Well,
I
they
don't
could go
know.
back to A and B.
Will they go
I mean,
back
they
around?
Have A and B in
That's
reserve.
true. Those are like the lost letters.
Maybe they could switch to savory. Maybe they could go from sweet to
I
savory.
hope they do.
Yeah.
And then people
Then we
get
finally
pizza.
get Android
I have no
pizza.
idea. Q.
There are
Yeah.
2 candies in this world with the name that starts with Q. In the
Yeah.
entire world, there's Quirks, which I'm looking up right now
I don't
because I've
even know
never
what
heard
those
of,
are.
Yeah.
and Quench Gum, which is long since
Right.
defunct, I believe.
Right.
The
There's
hell are
quiche.
Quirks?
Oh my god.
I wonder if like a bunch of developers at Android are furiously googling desserts starting with Q and realizing
I actually did that right now. It's really, really slim.
You think they're mad that they backed themselves into that corner?
Maybe they just break out and do savory quesadilla.
I mean, they could make a sweet quiche technically. Okay, I found Quirks. Here they are. What the hell are these?
And also, I know they tended to stay away from branded stuff. I know there was like
Yeah.
Kit Kat. There's
Right.
is Jelly Bean? No,
an
Jelly Beans.
Oreo.
Oreo, right?
Obviously.
But
Oreo's kind of like Kleenex though. Like it's a brand, but everybody just knows it. Am I
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't think I ate Oreos when I was a kid. I ate the
Hydrox.
Hydrox.
Is that what they were called?
Yeah, I think that's.
It sounds like something you'd clean your bathroom
I
with.
know, but they were just as delicious.
All right, so in our closing thoughts, Michael Brown says, so far Pi is pretty solid. Haven't experienced any crashes or issues so far. It's definitely faster than the developer review, as it should be. Well, that's a good place to start.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good sign for the 5% of Android users who'll actually get to try.
Ooh, wait, one more from Alex Mitchell. Android Quick. Even though it's Nesquik now,
Oh yeah,
I'm
I
down
like
with
it.
that.
I
That
like
stuff was
it.
delicious.
That's catchy. All
Now
right.
it makes me wish that they had done Android Ovaltine. Because secretly I'm a 70-year-old man. Anyways, we
Ovaltine's
are...
fine. I like Ovaltine.
I love Ovaltine. It's good for your bones.
You are an old man.
Listen, I just want more sponsorships, that's all.
There
Right.
we go.
And
Right.
speaking of, thank you to USB for once again sponsoring the show. We are out of time, so let's wrap it up. Thanks, everybody, again, for keeping a civil conversation about a touchy subject. We love you. You're the best. And fantastic questions. We want to hear more about anybody who's actually got Android Pie as it starts to filter through. And yeah, who wants to take us out today?
I will. The 359 podcast is available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, FeedBurner, Google Play Music, Google Podcasts, the Amazon Echo, and of course, CNET.com. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Goodbye.